es la ciencia.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Hey.
Hey guys, how we doing?
What's going on, guys? The boys are back. Jello's gonna make it through this whole time here.
We lost him for one bit.
We lost him for one video, but he's back. Jack,
He's resilient.
come on. Vlog number 9. We are ready to run it. Back at the Hideaway.
Wow, 9.
Let's
go.
Catch you in there.
Peace. First hand we're going to go over for me is actually the first hand I was dealt. I luckily got my phone out to get it, but the first hand right as I sat down, King Queen of Diamonds in the cutoff. The low jack raises to 12. I make the call, and the big blind calls as well. We are heading 3 ways to a flop, and the flop comes Queen Jack 4 with 2 hearts and 1 club. The big blind checks, the low jack bets $15. I make the call, big blind folds. Pretty standard so far. The turn is the 8 of spades, and this is where it gets a little weird. The low jack bets 55 into a pot of 67. This is a monster bet. Now we need to decipher what this bet means. Could it be a semi-bluff with a hearts draw or a straight draw? I mean, if so, this is kind of odd as he's giving himself a horrible price to do so. I feel like a semi-bluff would be a little bit smaller, so maybe he is betting to really charge those draws and he thinks I'm willing to pay any price. That would mean he's betting for value, so I proceed with caution, but I don't think I can let go of this hand just yet. I make the call, we head to a river, which is an inconsequential 3 of clubs. He thinks about it and checks it over. I am very happy to take this puppy to showdown. I check it back.
King high. I got a king.
He announces king high, and we are good. Happy to take the first hand dealt of the night down. On to the next one.
For this hand, we look down at 2 beautiful ladies, pocket queens, and actually this is my second hand of the night. Rosie's been sitting down for 30 minutes before me while I was waiting, and I ask what the read on the table is. He tells me the player to his right is just got stacked, is playing a ton of hands, so that 75% VPIP means he plays 75% of the hands pre-flop, and what we normally do is around 20%, so he's playing way too many hands, and that's something we can exploit. So here on the button, I raised to $12, and that aforementioned player on the big blind decides to 3-bet us here to $41. With pocket queens, there are times where I would just call in position, but again, because I know this player could be squeezing us, making the raise with a lot worse hands than us, I decided to make a 4-bet here to $105 with the intentions of calling all in. Normally, you know, pocket queens versus all in, I just got stacked the week before with kings, so I'm not exactly liking the situation, but we do see the big blind jam for $300, and because of what I had just talked about with Rosie over the phone, I decided to make the call here, and our second hand in, we're already up for our entire stack in the first part of the night. So here with pocket queens, we go to see a flop. Neither of us show our hands, so you guys can sweat this one with me. The board comes queen high, queen 5-9, all diamonds, hit a set, bigging, no more diamonds, no more diamonds. The river's a bad one, a king. Pocket jacks beat us, pocket kings beat us. However, he announces ace high, and we take down the full double up, $604, our second hand. So thank you, Rosie. I appreciate the double up. And our opponent might have had ace 8. He announced ace high, so not a lot of holdings he can have there. So yeah, appreciate the little heads up, and nice first hand to start the day off.
I'm misrecording the pre-flop action here, but basically we pick up King Jack offsuit in the cutoff. Pretty aggressive hijack opens at $6, and I call in position, hoping to get in some pots against him. And we see a call from small blind and big blind as well. Going to a flop 4 ways, we see a flop of King 6-5, 2 hearts. Small blind actually decides to donk here for $15, and this is where our video picks back up. Surprisingly enough, we see a call from both the big blind and the middle position, so I'd say this is a pretty standard call for me with top pair and a backdoor flush draw. We see a dark queen on the turn, and small blind continues the story with the lead out of $25. We are not feeling too great when we see a call from both the big blind and middle position, but I feel still pretty priced in at this point. $160 pot, $25 to call. I go ahead and make the call. And the river is the ultimate dud, the 2 of diamonds. The small blind bets $50 again into the remaining 3 players. Big blind in the middle position. And I feel pretty stuck here, getting about 5 to 1 on a call. And I understand that after betting 3 times like this, it's almost never a bluff, especially into 3 remaining players. However, I have seen players like this make a similar route with hands like King 10 or King 9, flopping top pair with a weak kicker, and trying to go for value on all three streets, so there are a percentage of the time where I'm still going to be good here. Ultimately, I decide to get sticky here with top pair, and I toss in the crying call for $50 more, hoping to be good, but to our disappointment, our opponent chose ace-king offsuit for the outkick top pair.
Next hand we're going to go over, we look down at pocket tens under the gun. I raise it up to $10. The low jack, the player right across from me, 3-bets us to $30. And the cutoff, the lady next to him, calls. Just cold calls. So now it's back on us. We're getting good odds. I don't necessarily think we're ahead right now. The man was a little bit looser, but the lady was pretty tight, so I think I'm going to treat this more of like a high implied odds set mine with our hand of pocket tens, because I think if we hit, we can get stacks in against jacks, queens, kings, or aces, which I think is definitely in the range of holdings that one of these two could have. So we head to a flop 3 ways. We make the call, and the flop comes 6, 5, 10. Let's go. We hit our set. We check. The initial 3-better checks as well, and the cutoff rips it all in for 140. Overbets the whole pot. We have the stone cold nutter butters. I know I'm calling. I'm going to Hollywood for a little bit to maybe entice the gentleman to call as well.
I have the nuts right now.
He folds. We head to a run out. 4 of clubs. Queen of diamonds, and she shows 2 face cards, but those face cards are jiggities, not quiggities. We take this one down, a $373 pot. Our weird, sneaky little set mine with the hand we figured was behind works out. We get those stacks in. The implied odds were there, and we scoop a huge one. In the bathroom, just had that pocket tens hand. So sick. Let's go. Treated it as a set mine. Figured I could get stacks in if we hit. The implied odds were there. Very happy. Let's see if we can keep running it up.
For this hand, we decide to get fancy how we film and look at one card at a time, and to our surprise, we pick up a nice little hand. We raise it to $8 under the gun, and music to my ears, I see a 3-bet from under the gun +1 to $25. And even better, middle position calls, and the big blind calls. We're loving it. And I'm deciding here now what to raise to. I decide to size up to $100 for my 4-bet. Under the gun +1 makes the fold, and as he does, he accidentally exposes the jack of clubs, which is pretty important for later in the hand. Middle position makes the fold as well, and the action returns to the big blind, who has a decision to make and ultimately decides to make the call for $75 more. And now, heads up, we are off to a flop. We see a flop of 5, 9, queen, all clubs. My mind is already made up. After we see a check from big blind, we are going to have to rip it all in here for $128 total. Things get a bit weird here as middle position announces that he had ace-3 of clubs. That gives away a lot of information considering the jack of clubs was also exposed. A few people got upset by the table talk, but while all that's going on, the big blind eventually tosses in the call for $128, and we're off to a turn in river. We see a turn of king of diamonds and a river of 3 of hearts. We flip over aces, and our opponent is hesitant to flip it over, which is always a good sign, and he shows queen jack suited. So we take this one down, a nice little double up with pocket aces.
For this hand, we pick up queen 10 suited in middle position. We raise it up to $8. We only see 1 call from the big blind. This guy actually was a watcher of the channel and came to see us at the Hideaway today, so shout out you. I'm glad we got into this hand, and you'll see why I played a little different. So here, when the flop comes queen jack 7, I normally would bet this flop hitting top pair, and especially a draw heavy board like it is. However, I decided to switch up my game. I snap check it back, which I think would show weakness to him, so maybe that allows him to bluff later on for cards that maybe wouldn't help my range, like lower cards. But we do see a 9, so we pick up a gutter here, and the big blind does decide to lead out here for $15. So our plan to check it wouldn't really make sense to raise here on the turn. There I'd be repping 2 pair, and I don't think I can rep anything credible to raise there and get him off a hand. So here We have top pair, we have showdown value, but we river a even better card, an 8, giving us the straight. So now when the big blind bets $30, it's an obvious raise situation, and because I play the hand pretty weird, I think I can get called here a lot worse. So I make the raise to $80, not too big. I'm still pricing him in if maybe he does have a pair or 2 pair, maybe a set. Here we see some good news. The big blind announces he's got to see it, and he calls for $50 more. We show our hand, and we have the winners. It sucks we have to take money from such a nice guy. Thanks for coming out.
In the final hand for me, we look down at pocket queens under the gun. I raise to $8 and get a call from middle position and the button. The flop comes 2-6-5 rainbow. I elect to c-bet smaller for $10, and we get snap raised to 20 by middle position. A snap min raise. I mean, obviously he doesn't expect me to fold for that price, so I'm assuming this is for value. I'm putting all these sets in his range. I am proceeding with caution again, but I don't think we can let this go given the odds and the strength of our hand. Turn comes the 8 of diamonds, completing the rainbow. I check it over to him, and he does not slow down. He bets $25. Time to think again, but I still don't think we can let it go. It seems like he's begging for calls here, so I'm very hesitant, but I think he could have hands like pocket 7s, pocket 10s, pocket jacks, pocket 9s that would all play this way for fear of overcards, and I'm ahead of all those. So for that reason, we make the call. The river comes the 9 of diamonds, puts 4 to a straight on the board. Fun board for queens here. I check. He doesn't slow down. He bets $50. And now it's time to really think. And luckily, Frankie gets me pondering on camera. As you can see, I'm doing my best Hunchback of Notre Dame impression, trying to get a great look at these cards. The thing that weirds me out the most about his line is this 9 is a scary card for sets, specifically. And he's playing this hand like he has a set. Even if he has a hand like 3-4 and he flopped a straight, he still hates this card as a 9, because any 7 beats him. So this bet seems a little bluffy. I think a set would slow down here. He's seen my persistence to stay in the hand. I don't think 2 pairs, like if he had 5-6, I think 5-6 checks back this river. Anyways, all this going through my mind, I decide to make the call.
You got it, good call.
Open, pair 3.
He tells us the great news, flips over pocket 3s. So, kind of weird. Happy we talked ourselves into that call, and we take down a $167 pot.
For this hand, we look at king queen offsuit in the button, facing an under the gun straddle, and we see a call from middle position as well as the cutoff. I decided to raise it up to $20 here to apply some aggression and hopefully get weak holdings to fold out. We see a call from under the gun, and middle position and cutoff decide to get on out of there. The board comes 6, queen 9, pretty favorable for our hand, and we get a check to us, and we decide to c-bet here for $30. And we get re-raised pretty quickly from under the gun to $60 min raise. I'm not going anywhere here. I don't think there's any reason in raising either, so I decide just to go ahead and make the call for $30 more. The turn comes a 4 of clubs, so the flush draw does get there, and we see a check from under the gun, and I'm pretty reluctant to check back here with our showdown value and also for pot control. The river comes a dud, a deuce of diamonds, and we see a pretty quick bet from under the gun, a raise to $100. Now, I'm trying to think of any hands here that I can actually beat, and I'm not really sure. A lot of times players at these stakes are pretty likely to check after they make a draw, such as a flush, to disguise it, but then also go for extreme value on the river when they miss out on that value on the turn. So a lot of times people aren't really bluffing here. King Queen is ultimately just a bluff catcher here, and I don't really know if he's ever really bluffing here. I decided to lay it down, and luckily our opponent does flip up his cards, and he shows us ace 8 of clubs for the made flush on the turn. Our read was right, and we made the right play.
This is a really hard hand for me to edit. I actually didn't even write this hand down after it happened because I was so frustrated with myself. So let's get into it because I have to show you guys everything, the good and the bad. So here with the ace 7 off, I decided to raise it on the cutoff to $8 after it folds to me. It's the very bottom of my range, but I decided to make it and I'm fine with what happened. I just don't like me raising into 2 aggressive players. So here when it checks to me, I think that if I c-bet here, I'm going to get re-raised a lot, and I'm not going to hit this flop too often. I mean, Jack 2-2 the small blind and the big blind knows that this is a prime candidate to 3-bet bluff me at. So because I am scared of a raise, I actually decided to make a check here. So the turn comes the 4 of clubs, and the small blind decides to lead out here for $15. I think this is a bluff because this card shouldn't be hitting my range very often, as I am the raiser, and he is calling in the small blind. So in the time, I'm not thinking that he's going to have that many 4s in his range, because he should have a stronger hand calling the small blind, which is the worst position in poker. So I'm going to be putting him on king queens, king 10s, ace 10 maybe, those kind of combinations. So I make the call here with the intentions of bluffing or betting on a card that favors my range, maybe a king or a queen. So we don't see that. We see a 5 of hearts on the river, and the big blind continues his story of having a strong hand. He bets $40. Here, I really think he's bluffing. I'm almost 100% sure he's bluffing, and I almost want to make just the call here with ace high, but I don't want to lose to ace 10 so an ace high with a better kicker, or maybe pocket 3s, something that barely beats me because of showdown but still is a bad hand. So here I decide to make a raise here, and the reason why I don't like this spot to bluff is because how can I credibly rep a jack? If I check the flop, that's immediately taking my opponents off the jack, or maybe a very slow played full house with pocket jacks. So because I just checked, I don't think I can credibly rep anything, and min clicking here is only going to bluff out absolute stone cold bluffs, like something with 0 showdown value. So when I min click to $95, we see a snap call from the big blind to flips over 4-5 offsuit. So our initial idea that he had a strong hand calling the small blind was wrong. He had a really weak hand, but he went runner 2 pair, and even though he did get pretty fortunate here, I think that's just a horrible spot to bluff at, and that's why I was so upset leaving the card room. I did leave with profit, but that was a horrible last hand, and something I'm not proud of. So definitely going to learn from that and go off to the next day.
Just wrapped up our session at the Hideaway, the return of Jello Part 2.
I cashed about 70 up. I was up about 300 at one point.
And you see me pretty salty here. Won the first big hand for $270, and then I'm a fish, so I bluffed off the rest. So I profited like 120 something tonight. So not bad, but
money?
yeah, I'm just pissed because I lost all of it.
You made money?
I was up 400, and then I bluffed it all away.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm pissed.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, yeah, I'm still pissed, guys. I made money and I'm pissed, okay? Can I not just be pissed?
He always wants to get better.
I just want to get, I'm pissed, okay? Next video, 1-3.
For me, you haven't even told them what I did yet.
Shit, okay,
I cashed for 503, so up 203 minus 40 in rake, so profit of 163 on the day. Pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Episode 10 is coming next, and we got something special for you guys. Let's get it.
Oh, and we just hit a K.
Oh, yeah.
1,000 subscribers.
Today.
Today
What's
was the
today?
day.
Well, I mean, whatever date today is when we film this, we
Yeah.
hit 1,000. Thank you so
September
much.
21st.
How's it going, guys? So that video was on September 21st. It is now the morning. It's 1 a.m. on October 5th. And we can proudly say we just hit 2,000 subscribers.
We have some sick videos coming up. We're going to keep posting it. Please keep showing us love. We are absolutely loving it and having the best time doing it. So the next ones, just wait.
Again, we appreciated your time. 2,000 subs, that's awesome.
Yes, sir!